Have you ever had one of those tiny, almost insignificant mishaps that somehow becomes the stuff of family legend? You know, the kind of story that gets brought up at every holiday gathering, getting a little more embellished each time? Well, today we're traveling back to 1862 to a cozy little cottage in Yorkshire, England, to uncover a story just like that, the tale I like to call the case of the slightly damp stockings. Picture this. It's Christmas Eve. The hearth is crackling, casting a warm, flickering glow across the room. The air is thick with anticipation and the scent of pine and roasting chestnuts. A family, let's call them the Wainwrights, is gathered. The children, wide-eyed with excitement, have just hung their stockings over the fireplace, dreaming of the treasures they'll find in the morning. It's a scene straight out of a classic Christmas card, right? Well, almost. You see, in the 19th century, life was a bit different. They didn't have the convenience of modern tumble dryers. Laundry was a chore, and drying it, especially in the damp English winter, was a strategic operation. The warmest spot in the house was, of course, right by the fire. So, alongside the children's stockings, Mrs. Wainwright had also hung a line of freshly washed linens to dry overnight. Sheets, towels, maybe some woolen undergarments, all releasing a steady, steamy vapor into the air. As the family slept, a quiet, atmospheric battle was taking place in the living room. The warmth of the fire fought against the cold, damp night, and the stockings, made of thick, hand-knitted wool, were caught right in the middle. They were like little sponges, slowly but surely absorbing the moisture from the nearby laundry. They weren't soaking wet, mind you, just slightly damp. Cool to the touch, with a certain clamminess that you wouldn't normally associate with Christmas morning joy. The sun rises on Christmas Day, and the children, let's imagine a boy named Thomas and his little sister Eleanor, race downstairs. They don't notice the faint smell of damp wool in the air. Their eyes are locked on the lumpy, gift-filled stockings hanging by the now dying embers of the fire. They grab them, and that's when they feel it. A subtle, unexpected coolness. The stockings are ... moist. Now, you might expect drama, tears, perhaps. A declaration that Christmas is ruined? Not at all. This was 1862. These were hardy Yorkshire kids. A bit of dampness was hardly a crisis. They probably just shrugged, their minds entirely focused on the contents. Was there a shiny new penny inside? A hand-carved wooden toy? Maybe a sweet orange, a rare and precious treat back then? They eagerly tipped the contents onto the floor. Thankfully, the gifts were unharmed. The orange was still perfectly round and fragrant. The wooden soldier was still standing tall, and the penny hadn't rusted. The dampness was merely a superficial inconvenience, a brief tactile surprise before the real business of Christmas could begin. The stockings were tossed aside to be properly dried later, and the day went on with all the usual festive cheer. So, why are we even talking about this? Because this seemingly trivial event was recorded. In a family diary, tucked away and forgotten for years, a brief entry was made about that day. It described the incident as a mildly inconvenient but ultimately harmless occurrence. That's it. No melodrama, no fuss. Just a simple observation. But for the Wainwright family, that was just the beginning of the story. It became asterisk story. At the next Christmas gathering, someone would say, "Remember last year when the stockings were all damp?" And everyone would chuckle. The year after that, the story grew. Maybe in this telling, Thomas complained that his wooden soldier had caught a cold. The year after that, Eleanor swore the orange tasted a bit like laundry soap. Over the decades, the slightly damp stocking incident of '62 became a cherished piece of family folklore. It was a shared memory, a humorous touchstone that connected generations. The great-grandchildren would hear the tale and imagine their ancestors in that little Yorkshire cottage, pulling slightly clammy gifts from their stockings. The story was no longer about the dampness itself, but about the family's reaction to it, their resilience, their good humor, and their ability to turn a minor flaw into a fond memory. This simple story reminds us of something beautiful about family and tradition. It's not always the grand, perfect moments that we remember most fondly. Sometimes it's the little imperfections, the unexpected hiccups, the mildly inconvenient occurrences that become the most enduring and beloved tales. They're the stories that make our family history uniquely ours. They're the human moments that add texture and humor to the tapestry of our lives. Think about your own family. What are your slightly damp stocking stories? Is it the time the turkey was accidentally dropped on the floor? The year all the Christmas lights went out right as the guests arrived? Or maybe a gift that was hilariously wrong? These are the moments that truly define our holidays. They're the stories that will be told and retold long after the perfectly wrapped presents are forgotten. They remind us that the real magic of the season isn't in perfection, but in sharing the experience, laughter, and even the mishaps with the people we love. So this holiday season, if something doesn't go exactly as planned, don't sweat it. Just smile and remember the Wainwrights of Yorkshire. You might just be creating a new family legend, a story that will be shared with a chuckle for years and years to come. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this little trip back in time, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories from history. See you next time.